Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I know everybody named Mama Honey been wanting me to do a review of Surviving Compton. When I tell you Twitter was lit yesterday, okay? When I tell you the movie Surviving Compton literally had so many names trending yesterday, it was a hot damn mess. Everybody from Dr. Dre to Michel'le to damn Suge Knight to Alonzo Williams. I mean, everybody was trending. Even Tupac started trending. And tell me why Straight Outta Compton started trending as well. I'm talking about this movie had the whole internet shook. When I tell you we were all gathered together last night to sip some tea, bitch, and that's exactly what we did, honey. We was sipping slow all last night on Twitter. Damn, that tea was good, Michel'le. So anyways, you guys wanted me to talk about the situation, talk about the movie, and let you guys know what I thought about it. And I'm here to give y'all the tea, honey. So make sure y'all have y'all's teacups ready because what? This tea is piping hot. Cheers to you, bitch. Anyways, last night was lit. When I tell you, I even had people who weren't even watching it. They were either at work or they were in the UK. I had so many UK subscribers just like talking to me as if they were watching it. And they were saying that my tweets were kind of guiding them through the movie. I don't know. We had a blast yesterday, honey. And if you have not seen the full movie, I have uploaded it onto my website. I posted it on Twitter earlier today and on Facebook. So if you guys have not seen it, if you're overseas, you guys can definitely check it out. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was just very interesting. It was very interesting how they shot it as well, as far as like the cinematography. They had Michel'le in there, honey. You'd have thought Michel'le was Spike Lee. She was doing voiceovers. She was in the damn movie talking to herself, doing voiceovers. The style that Michel'le was getting shot in reminded me of the House of Cards, how Kevin Spacey comes out, he breaks that fourth wall, and he basically talks to the audience.
They say we get the leaders we deserve.
I got my own history, my own story about a girl from the hood. I am Michel'le.
And that's what Michel'le was doing yesterday. Really insane to watch it, and it caused a lot of controversy. A lot of folks was going in at Dr. Dre and atting Dr. Dre. The whole situation was a hot damn mess. But, you know, some of the points in the movie that I did like was the fact that, you know, she did shout out Alonzo Williams. Alonzo Williams had a really big part to play in NWA coming together. And a lot of times they try and kind of discredit him. And he's a really cool older gentleman. He lives out in Compton. I've met him several times. Very, very down to earth. So I like the fact that Michel'le included him in that. And then you could also see the relationship that she had with Jerry Heller, where she almost looked to Jerry Heller like a father figure. You know what I'm saying? Like she was really close to him. He gave her a lot of good advice. It's really interesting how everything starts and, you know, it's all good and, you know, Dre's lovey-dovey. And then literally like within a few scenes, everything just flipped. She's in the bed laying down. Dr. Dre comes home drunk and he starts whooping her ass like a grown ass man on the street, honey. Just starts punching her in the face and just, I mean, it was just insane. And everybody was just in shock like, well, damn, we didn't expect the beatings to start that early. We was thinking it was going to be at least a half hour into the damn show. It was like within the first 15 minutes, she was getting her ass whooped. I mean, it was just insane. You know, it just really made a lot of people look at Dr. Dre differently. You know, for me, I didn't really know who Michel'le was like that. I didn't really know the whole NWA thing because I was young. I was like in what, like second grade or some shit. So no, I didn't know their whole backstory. I really didn't start getting into the whole West Coast music until Tupac and Snoop. That's my generation, you know what I'm saying? So this is like more like the 80s people, like people who were teenagers in the 80s. But for a lot of us who were young back then, I had no idea she went through all this. I didn't didn't even know that Dr. Dre was beating on her until she was on R&B Divas, and she spoke about it, and she went on to the Wendy Williams show, and then she spoke about it in depth with the Breakfast Club and Vlad TV. So that's when a lot of people really knew her story. But up until then, you know, I didn't really think too much about Michel'le. I knew her more from singing Run the Streets with Tupac than I did for any of her music. Last night, and kind of seeing where she came from was really cool. She does have a beautiful voice. Her speaking voice, yes, can be annoying as hell, but her singing voice is really nice. You know, the whole situation was just really insane. And I think what was even more crazy is that, you know, in certain parts, Suge Knight was the hero. He was almost like her savior, especially when he had her check into the Betty Ford clinic and she went back into rehab. So I thought that was cool, but then he also, like, you know, basically played the shit out of her, and she was really upset about that. He faked the marriage to her, but I couldn't feel really too bad for her in that sense that he faked the marriage on her, because when she got with Suge Knight, he basically told her, I have a wife and I'm not looking for another one.
Okay.
And so Suge Knight, the man I had been so afraid of, turned out to be an angel in my life.
I already got a wife. I don't need another one. She be my lady, a part of my city. I'll make sure you want for nothing.
At that point in time, Michel'le knew. She knew Suge Knight's wife. They, you know, all hung out, had dinner together. So she was cool with being the side chick to Suge Knight. You know, so she really couldn't be shocked that Suge Knight would do something trifling like shock her, lie to her about marrying her and not divorcing his first wife. You know what I'm saying? I think another thing that really disturbed me in the movie was her grandmother, Mimi, and her complacent attitude, and how her and even Michel'le's mother made it seem like domestic abuse is okay. Her grandmother basically told Michel'le in so many words that you getting your ass whooped is basically a job that's paying you well. You know what I'm saying? You're being spoiled with all these luxury cars, this beautiful home, diamonds and everything else. So, you know, you getting your ass whooped should not be that big a deal if you look at the big picture. And sadly, a lot of women back then and even women today still have the mentality that as long as this man is taking care of me, I'm living in a mansion, I have things I can floss on Instagram, I have bags and shoes and everything else, what he does to me doesn't matter, because as long as the outside world thinks that our marriage or our relationship is perfect, or women are envious of my relationship, then it doesn't matter if he's sleeping with other people. It doesn't matter if he's cheating on me. It doesn't matter if he's whooping my ass. And I think that mentality is really, really sick. But the sad part is there's still women till this day who think like that. And I think a lot of women need to know their self-worth.
I hope you get it together. Oh, girl.
And I know in certain parts, Michel'le kept talking to the audience, and she was saying, you know, why did I stay? Why didn't I just go? You know, I don't know. I stayed because I really loved him. I wanted it to work. Yes, that might have been a big part of why she stayed. But before she had that baby, I also feel like she stayed because she wanted the fame. She wanted to get her album out. And, you know, part of her liked the fact that she was hanging with this crew of guys, you know what I'm saying? And Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. I mean, these guys were like world known. They were super famous. And she's just like, you know, like this little, you know, young woman that not too many people know. And she's getting to hang with like one of the most infamous groups in history. So I think part of that, she liked that appeal. She liked that, you know, and that's what kept her. And then in a sense, whatever Dre had, she had, as far as like houses and cars and stuff like that. But Dr. Dre was ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Now I see why his ass was trying so hard to sue her and trying to sue Sony and Lifetime and everybody else that they put out this film. And they basically thumbed their damn noses at Dr. Dre, gave him a fuck you, and put the film out. And I see why he salty, because that film depicted him in such a horrible way. I mean, there was stuff in there I had no idea that this woman went through. When she was holding the baby, that Dr. Dre kept calling, shut the baby up, shut the baby up, shut the kid up. It's like he never said this baby's name. He never called the baby Marcel. And even Michel'le said that in certain parts, like, you know, do you not know his name? Why do you keep calling him the baby? Well, I guess when you had 10 kids by so many different women, I guess it's hard to keep track, okay? So anyhow, you know, like I said on Twitter, Michel'le is a good one, because had I found out about a second baby, the relationship would have been over. I could see the first baby because that was before Michel'le got there. But then you're talking about baby number 2. By the time she was deep in a relationship with him, he had 5 kids within the span of not even 2 years. It's like, what in the world? You know, I didn't even realize Dre had that many kids. There's always been rumors that he had a lot of kids, just like eazy-e has a lot of kids. But not everything is starting to come out there, because we only see Dre with his youngest 2 kids, the ones that he has by his current wife. But there's a lot of older children that Dr. Dre has as well. So that was interesting to see how that played out. I also like the fact that she showed that eazy-e somewhat had her back. You know, he somewhat would try and stick it for her and step to Dre and say, you know, why are you hitting on her? She's a sweet girl. This is not cool. You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing this? And Jerry Heller also had her back as well. But, you know, MC Ren would just sit there. DJ Yella would just sit there and not say anything. So I think that was good that she kind of put that in there to show that eazy-e did try and have her back. In that scene when eazy-e called her and said that Dre is drunk as hell, he's on his way over there, you need to go, you need to, you know, get up out that house. The fact that he tried to warn her was really cool.
Michel'le.
Hey, Easy.
Listen, Dre's headed home, full tank. He's drunk as hell. You really need to get the hell out of there. You hear me? Michel'le. All right.
But it's just sad that so many men sat there and watched her get her ass whooped and did nothing. And you could tell this was basically the mentality back then, because I showed you guys that VHS of MC Ren, DJ Yella, and eazy-e, and they were talking about the whole D Barnes situation. And MC Ren was super happy. He's like, that's what she gets. She needs her ass whooped again.
What NWA themselves had to say about the incident back in March.
That's what she get. I hope she get it again. She got beat down. The host of that show did something and she know what she did and got beat down, and I hope it happened again.
So it seems like that was just the mentality of a lot of people back then, that this type of abuse was just okay, and it's just something that happens, and it is what it is. That's their business and not mine. Now, another thing that tripped me out in this movie was the fact that they used the damn same Suge Knight from Straight Outta Compton to play Suge Knight in Surviving Compton. I'm like, bruh, really? Now, I'm not mad at him. Get your shmoney, baby. Get your shmoney, okay? But it was just funny to see the same dude playing Suge Knight in both movies. He was like, I don't have no damn loyalty to Dr. Dre. I'm not Ice Cube's son. Shit, let me go ahead and sign on the dotted line. And he signed up to do the movie with Michel'le. I fell out when I seen the Suge Knight. But she said that, you know, basically Suge Knight, you know, just won her over, and she just really fell in love with him, and she ended up having a baby by Suge Knight. You know, so that whole situation was crazy, and Suge Knight was playing the hell out of her while he was in prison. He was stringing her along the whole time. He wanted her to run death row, which she tried, but you know, she's not a damn businesswoman. She didn't go to school for business. So it's very hard for her to maintain everything, get people paid properly, and eventually his offices got raided because of how much dirt he did. So it's crazy to see how all that unfolded, but he basically used Michel'le for just conjugal visits because he wanted her there at a certain time. He wanted her there every weekend, and she was not there every weekend, she'd be in trouble. He even said that he would pay her $30,000, so there should be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She decided to do that. She signed up for that, and then one day she decided to come on a Friday, and that's when she ran into Suge Knight's wife, and that's when it popped off and they got into it. So the whole situation was just a hot mess. And nothing that bothered me with the whole Suge Knight scene was the fact that he told her that if she was not willing to come see him on the weekends, he basically threatened her son. He's like, oh, well, you got a baby by Dre. He plays softball or baseball here at such and such time. Basically, you know, low-key threatened her. And I'm like, really? At that point in time, she really should have walked off. But, you know, I guess she was just so in love with Suge Knight, or maybe she was scared of him, that she decided to go through with the deal and make sure to be there every weekend to give him his conjugal visits. So the movie was definitely interesting. There was a lot of twists and turns. You know, was some of it dramatized for television? I'm sure. But a lot of it was just really scary to see how bad this relationship got. Dr. Dre shot at her. I was just like, what in the hell? And then like 3 scenes later, Suge Knight does the same thing. And I'm like, this woman just has so much bad luck with men. It's just really sad. Well, anyways, honey, the internet had a damn field day. When I tell you, folks went in last night on Twitter. I want y'all to go ahead and check out these comments, these memes, what folks had to say. Check this out, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these nuts and suck the dick. Get the fuck out after ya done. Then I hop to my bitch to make a quick run.
All of you bitches could come and suck my doggy dick. Beating up a bitch don't make your shit, but then again, some niggas think it makes a man.
Alright, so you guys just saw the comments and what folks had to say. Another thing I found crazy about the movie was how much Eazy-E was trying to get with Michel'le. And lucky for Michel'le, she passed on that peen, okay?
So, does like that mean I can get something now?
Hey, come on.
What? But I don't think getting with Dre was any better because he was sleeping with so many people. Dre could have just as easy brought her back something as well. You know, another thing that kind of confused me about the movie was when they did the Tupac part. First of all, Tupac didn't look nothing like damn Tupac. My ass was like, Tupac, is that you? It's like they couldn't find a better looking Tupac than that. I mean, the guy was cute. He just didn't look nothing like Tupac. Okay, but what tripped me out is when they talked about Tupac getting killed in Vegas, Suge Knight was in the room with Michel'le.
25-year-old rapper was in the backseat of a black BMW, part of an informal convoy of 10 cars, when Las Vegas police say shots were fired from a passing white Cadillac.
Turns out the same night Pop was shot.
I'm like, hold up now. How the hell is Suge Knight in the room with Michel'le, but in real life he was supposed to be in the car with Tupac? So that part just kind of threw me off. I don't understand how that part got cleared because it made no sense. How Suge Knight in the room with her, but we all know that he was in Vegas with Tupac when Tupac was dying. So that whole situation was crazy. But Tupac and Michel'le also had a really good relationship as well. So like I said, the movie was very, very interesting. You know, some people are upset. Some people are saying, you know what, that's bullshit. Dr. Dre needs to sue her for slander and everything else. I find it funny that, you know, some guys are mad that Michel'le wanted to tell her story and she put her story out there. You know what I'm saying? And they're saying that it's okay for Dre to sue her and to silence her. But when Jerry Heller was mad about Straight Outta Compton and he said that he wanted to sue Dr. Dre and them, folks were like, oh, he's just a greedy Jew. F Jerry Heller, he still has his hands in the pot. You know, folks were really mad at Jerry Heller for trying to sue NWA. But now some of these same folks are saying that it's okay for Dr. Dre to want to sue Michel'le. And I feel like at the end of the day, she has a right to tell her story. You know, was her story dramatized? I think it was dramatized a bit. You know, so for me, what I'm taking away from this movie is that abusive relationships are real. I know a lot of people who have been in abusive relationships. I mean, it's very, very scary and people stay in them for different reasons. What I do like about this entire situation is the fact that abuse is being discussed on an open platform. I'm glad that people are having genuine discussions about this. You know, what I want to come from this movie is for people who are in abusive situations to see themselves in this movie, to see themselves and to see that, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't matter what that man gives you. It doesn't matter if you have all the cars, the money, the jewels, and everything else in the world. It does not matter. What matters is you as a person, and that abuse can turn deadly. If you guys remember a few years ago, I talked about one of my coworkers. Her younger sister died at the age of 19 because her baby's father kept whooping her ass. And they tried hard to get away from her abuser, and they kept telling her, if you stay, you're going to end up dead. And she just, you know, she was so in love with him and she just thought he would change. And eventually they got into a really bad fight. He beat her so bad that he ended up kicking her and her liver ruptured and this girl died at the age of 19. And her baby's father ended up doing like 10 years in prison. So he did end up doing prison time. So abusive situations are nothing to laugh about. You know, a lot of people dismiss them and they say it's no big deal. I know 2 women who have ended up in hospitals. That's how bad they were beaten, almost killed by their significant others. I hope that Surviving Compton wakes people up. And if you're a woman, if you're in an abusive relationship, get out of that relationship. If you're a man and you're being abused by your woman, get out of that relationship. If you're in a gay relationship, and you know, because sometimes gay relationships can be very, very volatile, no one deserves to hit on anybody. And I hope that people who are being abused end up finding the strength to get up and leave. What I also hope is that the people who are doing the abusing look at Dr. Dre and see what he did to Michel'le in this movie and see how fucked up that is. That it ends up opening their eyes and sparking some type of change in them and letting them know that they need to change, because that type of behavior is not okay. It's not okay to put your hands on somebody. At the end of the day, both parties are grown. If they're not acting the way that you feel like they should act, then you need to let the relationship go. Let them go do them and you go do you. There's no reasons to ever put hands on anybody. So I think for me, that's what I take away from this movie, is that I hope that it shines light on abuse, and that women and other people who are being abused can see themselves in this movie, and that people who are the abusers can also see themselves in this movie and hopefully change for the better. Go get counseling, go get help, but it's never okay to put your hands on another person. You know, so this whole situation was just crazy. The movie was really good. So like I said, if you guys have not seen the movie, movie. The link will be down below. It's on my website. You guys can go ahead and check it out. Come on, y'all. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping, honey. Let me know your thoughts on Surviving Compton. You know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you feel like Michel'le was doing too much? Do you believe the story? Do you feel like it's over-exaggerated? You know, I've seen a lot of different opinions today. So now I want to hear you guys' opinions on the movie. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.